Welcome back, everybody. Ready for another deep dive with us?
I am.
Awesome. Well, today we're tackling something I think we all struggle with.
Oh, I know it.
Time management. You guys sent in some excerpts from an audiobook all about it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so we're going to break it down for you. Help you guys become masters of your own time.
That's a good goal. What I think is really interesting about this audiobook is that it's not like some strict, rule-based system.
Right.
It's more about like helping you figure out what you actually want to do and then aligning your life with that.
I love that. So it's not about fitting more and more into your day,
Right.
but more about making sure that what you are doing is actually like what you want to be doing.
Exactly.
Taking you towards your goals.
Yeah.
The audiobook actually starts off with a pretty shocking stat.
No.
Did you know that if a manager making $75,000 a year wastes just 1 hour a day,
Oh,
they're costing their company $9,000 annually?
wow. That really puts things in perspective. You know, when you see how much wasted time actually costs,
Yeah.
you realize that every minute really does count.
Yeah.
And that kind of leads into the main point of the book, which is that the goal of time management is all about managing your goals.
So it's not just about being busy.
Nope.
It's about being busy with the right things.
Exactly.
And the book actually lays out a really useful framework for this. It's all about breaking down these really big goals into smaller, more manageable pieces, sort of like, those Russian nesting dolls.
Oh, yeah.
Each one has like a smaller version inside.
Right, right.
It's the same idea with goals. So let's say you have this big project. It's due next year,
Okay.
which feels super overwhelming. So you break it down, monthly milestones.
Okay.
And then those milestones you break down into like weekly tasks. And suddenly it's not this big, scary, project anymore. It's like bite-sized pieces.
Yeah.
Totally. It's like taking this massive project and making it into this step-by-step roadmap. It doesn't feel so intimidating anymore.
Way less scary.
Right. So I think, for our listeners, think about a goal you have right now.
Yeah.
Could be anything, personal, work, whatever.
Right.
How can you break it down? What would your Russian nesting doll strategy look like?
I like that.
Yeah. Now, the audiobook also talks about something that's been a game changer for me. To-do lists.
Oh, yeah.
But not just any to-do list. This book gets really specific
Okay.
about what makes them effective.
Interesting. So it's not just about like, just writing down everything that pops into your head.
Exactly.
Okay.
So tell us more about that.
Well, the book calls them prioritized action-oriented lists.
Okay.
So first you figure out what really needs to get done, and then you prioritize those tasks, by how important and how urgent they are.
I see.
There are all kinds of frameworks you can use, like the Eisenhower matrix, where
Yeah.
you decide if things are urgent and important, or maybe urgent but not important.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Yeah.
So that helps you really separate the must-dos from the nice-to-dos.
Exactly, yeah. And then the action-oriented part is about writing your tasks in a way that tells you what to do. So instead of just putting Project X,
Right.
you would write something like draft outline for Project X.
Okay.
Or schedule meeting with stakeholders for Project X.
So it's turning those vague ideas into concrete steps.
Yeah.
What's interesting is the book also talks about how sometimes just writing things down can actually spark your creativity.
Really?
Yeah. Sometimes you just need to get it out of your head and onto paper.
Right.
And then suddenly you can see the best way to do things.
I've definitely had those moments. Making a list and then suddenly it's all clear.
Totally. Now, another point the book makes, and this is really important.
Okay.
A to-do list is a tool. It's not a tyrant.
That's a good point.
It's a roadmap, not shackles.
Yeah.
Right?
Things change, priorities change.
Totally.
And a good to-do list is flexible enough to accommodate those changes.
Yeah. It's about having a framework, not a rigid set of rules.
Exactly.
I think for our listeners who are visual, love to see things laid out,
Yeah.
the book actually suggests trying a whiteboard list.
Yeah.
There's something so satisfying about wiping those tasks away.
Literally wiping them out. I love that.
When they're done, yes.
Yeah.
And speaking of getting things done,
Okay.
the book also dives into some of the biggest obstacles to effective time management, what it calls time traps.
Oh, time traps. I think we've all fallen into those at some point.
Oh, yeah, those sneaky things
Yeah.
that just suck your time away.
And the book's not afraid to name names.
Uh-oh.
Email, meetings, chatty coworkers.
Oh, yeah. I know all of them.
They're all in there.
Yeah. Okay, let's unpack those a little bit because I think we can all relate.
We can.
Let's start with email. It can feel like this bottomless pit sometimes.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah.
And the book has some really good advice for that.
Oh, good.
The first tip is to think of your inbox like a triage center, not a fire station.
Okay.
Not every message needs to be answered right this second.
I see.
Right? So instead of just like constantly checking your inbox
Oh, yeah.
and reacting to every message as it comes in,
Right.
you set aside specific times for email
Okay.
and then focus on other stuff the rest of the day.
I see. So it's about taking control
Yeah.
instead of letting it control you.
Right.
And then when you actually are in your inbox, what does the book say about dealing with all those emails?
Well, it talks about scanning and prioritizing.
Okay.
And I mean ruthlessly.
Oh, wow.
Like figuring out which ones actually need your attention right now and which ones can wait or be delegated
Right.
or even just ignored.
Yeah, because so much of it these days
I know.
is just noise.
It really is.
Just got to filter that out.
Yeah. And speaking of noise,
Uh-oh.
another time trap the book talks about is meetings.
Oh. Yes, we've all been in those meetings.
So many meetings.
That could have just been an email.
Or a phone call.
Hey.
The book really emphasizes being intentional about your meetings.
Okay.
You know, like whether you even need to have them in the first place.
Right. Like, is there another way to do this?
Exactly. And how are they structured?
Right. So before you even schedule the meeting, you're asking yourself, could we just do this in email?
Could we just do this in a shared doc?
Totally. Sometimes just avoiding it altogether
Yes.
is the best way to go.
Often. And if you do need the meeting,
Right.
the book says
Okay.
clear agenda.
Mm-hmm.
Stick to it
Okay.
and end on time.
Which is where the agenda comes in.
Right.
It's like the roadmap for your meeting.
Keeps everyone on track.
Focused. And I think this is something we should emphasize. For our listeners, the book really talks about how time management isn't just about you.
Yeah.
It's also about respecting other people's time.
Exactly. It's recognizing that everyone's time is valuable.
Right. And that includes
colleague.
your boss.
Even those chatty coworkers.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of those chatty coworkers,
Yeah.
the book has some good tips about dealing with them.
Oh, tell me.
You know those people who just can't resist stopping by for a chat?
Oh my gosh, yes. It's like they can sense when you're about to get in the zone.
Totally. And it's tough because you don't want to be rude.
Right, you want to be friendly.
Exactly. But
Yeah.
you also need to protect your time.
You have things to do.
Okay, so what does the book suggest?
Well, one thing is to be proactive.
Okay.
Like, if you know someone's a chatterbox,
Uh-huh.
try not to make eye contact.
Oh, so they don't get that invitation.
Exactly. Or, like, even turn slightly away from them.
Okay.
Like, you're really focused on something.
So it's about setting boundaries.
It is setting those boundaries.
Yeah. Both physically and verbally.
Right. And you can also try some, like, you know, polite but firm phrases
Okay.
to redirect the conversation.
Like what?
Like, I'd love to hear more about that later, but right now I really need to focus on this. Or, can we schedule a quick chat later this afternoon?
Okay, so assertive, but not...
Aggressive.
Right.
You're not trying to hurt anyone's feelings.
Right, but you were trying to...
Protect your time.
Protect your time. Yes, and the book also dives into scheduling.
Scheduling.
But not just for individual tasks.
Okay.
For whole projects.
Oh, wow.
So creating a timeline,
I want that.
a visual representation of all the tasks,
Yeah.
their deadlines,
Okay.
dependencies, the whole thing.
I can see how that would be really helpful.
And it helps keep everyone on the same page, make sure everything stays on track. So what kind of strategies does the book recommend for actually creating those timelines?
Well, it suggests working backward from the project due date.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. So instead of starting at the beginning
Right.
and trying to figure out how long everything will take.
You start at the end?
Yeah. And figure out what needs to happen to get there.
That's a really cool way to look at it.
It is. It makes you think strategically
Mm-hmm.
and anticipate potential problems.
It's like you're reverse engineering the project
You are.
to ensure success.
I love that. And it also helps you be more realistic about deadlines. Right?
For sure.
Because, you know, if you have to do X, Y, and Z
Yeah.
to reach that final goal,
Right.
you can see if the timeline is actually doable.
Exactly. And if it's not,
Uh-oh.
the book says, speak up.
Don't be afraid to renegotiate those deadlines.
Right. It's better to do that up front.
Than to scramble and miss them later.
Absolutely. Which can create a whole bunch of other problems.
Oh, yeah, for your team, for the whole project.
And speaking of teams,
Okay.
the book also talks about time management in the workplace.
Mm-hmm.
You know, how it impacts not just you,
Right.
But the whole work environment.
It's about creating that culture of respect. Yes, where everyone's time is valued.
And that starts with
Clear communication.
being mindful of deadlines.
Respectful of meeting times.
Yeah. I think we've all worked with those people who are just constantly late
Oh, yeah.
or don't respect meeting times or bombard you with last-minute requests.
Just so stressful.
It creates a lot of inefficiency and just bad vibes.
It does. And the book has some tips for fostering a more time-conscious workplace.
Give me those tips.
Well, first of all,
Okay.
be on time.
Oh, it seems so simple.
It is, but it makes a huge difference.
Right. It shows respect.
It does respect for the other people.
And for the time.
Yes, that's been set aside for whatever it is you're doing.
So be on time and then,
When you're in meetings,
okay.
be mindful of the time that's been allotted.
Right.
Try to keep things focused on track.
And don't let it drag on.
No one wants to be there longer than they have to be.
And I think it's important to remember that our own actions impact other people. If we're always late or interrupting others,
Or not clear about our expectation.
we're wasting everyone's time.
Not just our own.
Right. And the book actually goes as far as to say that good time management is a form of leadership.
Oh, interesting. So by respecting other people's time,
Yes.
we're setting a good example
We are.
and creating a more positive and productive work environment for everyone.
But what about when you're dealing with someone
Oh, yeah.
who's just not a good time manager?
Like a boss.
Right, like a boss who's always late.
Or doesn't respect boundaries.
What do you do then?
Well, that can be tricky.
Yeah.
But the book does have some strategies for those situations.
Okay, good. Because I need them.
Well, first remember, you can't control other people.
Oh, wrong.
You can only control your own reactions.
Okay, so instead of getting frustrated
Right.
by their lack of time management, you focus on what you can do
Exactly.
to protect your own time and sanity.
So it's about setting boundaries,
Yeah.
being assertive, and not letting their time mismanagement mess you up.
I like that. Oh, okay, give me an example.
Well, let's say your boss is always late to meetings.
Okay, classic.
You could try to schedule them when you have some extra time.
So if they're late,
Yeah,
it doesn't throw off your whole day.
exactly.
Uh.
Or if you're working with someone who misses deadlines,
Mm-hmm.
you can try to build in extra time for their tasks.
So you're not caught off guard.
Right. It's all about being proactive.
Anticipating those time tracks.
And sometimes the best way to handle it
Mm-hmm.
is to just communicate your needs.
Direct and honest.
Yes.
Sometimes people just aren't aware.
Right. They don't realize how their actions are affecting others.
So talking about it can help.
Again, sometimes that's all it takes.
And then holding people accountable to those expectations.
Yes. And remember, everyone's different.
True.
We all have different working styles.
Different approaches to time.
And the book really stresses finding a system that works for you.
Your personality.
Yeah, your preferences.
It's about experimenting
Trying different things.
and finding what fits.
What clicks for you.
And then once you find it,
Yeah.
you stick with it.
Be consistent. Make it a habit.
Not just something you do when you're feeling overwhelmed.
Right. It's an ongoing
A
process.
commitment to personal growth.
And I think it's also about being patient with yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody's perfect.
Totally.
We all have those days where we feel like we're losing the battle against time.
It happens.
But the key is to keep learning
Keep experimenting.
and keep trying to become the master of your own time.
Yeah, it's a journey,
It is.
not a destination.
For sure.
And I think that's something our listeners can really relate to.
Right. It's not about being perfect.
Yeah, no one's perfect.
It's about progress.
Those little steps.
One step at a time.
Exactly. And speaking of progress,
Okay.
this audiobook makes a really interesting point
Uh-huh.
about the difference between being efficient and being effective.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one.
Yeah.
People mix those up all the time.
They do. So it's not enough to just be busy,
Nope.
checking things off your list.
You got to be doing the right things.
So it's about doing things,
Yes.
but it's about doing the right things.
the things that actually matter.
The things that are actually going to get you where you want to go.
Exactly.
Okay.
The book uses this great analogy.
Okay.
It's about steering the ship, not just rowing the boat.
Okay.
You can be really good at rowing,
Mm-hmm.
but if you're rowing in the wrong direction,
You're never going to get there.
you'll just end up lost at sea.
I love that analogy.
The good one.
It's so true. We need to make sure
Yeah.
that we're rowing in the right direction.
Steering in the right direction.
Steering, yeah, that we're actually headed towards our goals.
Exactly. So how do we do that?
Right. How do we make sure we're steering the ship the right way?
Well, the book says it starts with clarity.
Okay.
Clarity about what you want to achieve,
Mm-hmm.
clarity about your priorities,
Or what's important.
what really matters to you.
So taking that time to really think about your goals,
Define them.
break them down.
And then make sure that what you're doing every day
Yeah.
is helping you reach those goals.
So it's about being intentional with our time
Making conscious choices.
instead of just reacting to whatever comes up.
Exactly. And that's where those goal-setting skills come in.
Right. And prioritizing.
Knowing what to focus on.
And constantly asking ourselves those questions.
Yeah.
Like, is this the best use of my time right now?
Is this task really moving me forward?
Does this align with my values?
And if the answer is no,
Oh,
then it might be time to reevaluate,
okay.
delegate, or even say no.
Even if that feels hard.
Because saying no to the things that don't matter
Yeah.
is like saying yes to the things that do.
It's about reclaiming your time.
Creating the life you want.
And that's where this book really goes beyond just like tips and tricks.
Really, yeah.
It's about shifting your mindset.
Your whole approach to time.
It's about realizing that time is your most valuable resource.
And that you have the power to choose how you use it.
It's about taking ownership instead of letting it control you.
Exactly.
And that can be so empowering.
It can.
It's not about being perfect.
Yep.
It's about making those choices,
setting boundaries.
being intentional with your days.
Yeah.
So it's an ongoing process.
It is.
It's commitment.
To personal growth.
It's about being self-aware,
Knowing yourself.
recognizing your patterns.
Yeah. And then making those small adjustments.
That can lead to big changes.
And being kind to yourself along the way.
Oh, yeah. That's important.
It is.
We're all going to have those days where we feel overwhelmed, like
Yeah.
we're drowning in to-dos.
Happens.
But the key is to just keep learning.
Keep experimenting.
Keep trying to find that balance.
That works for you.
That works for you exactly now before we wrap up.
Okay.
I think it's important to acknowledge that this audiobook
Yeah.
focuses mainly on time management at work.
Right. In the workplace.
But there's a whole other side to this.
Oh, yeah. That we haven't really touched on.
Our digital lives.
Or digital life.
All those notifications.
The constant
Pressure to be always on.
It's no wonder so many of us feel like we're constantly battling the clock.
Right. And the things that work at work.
Don't always work in our personal lives.
Exactly.
So how do we set those boundaries with our devices?
How do we make time for rest
For relaxation.
when the world is constantly demanding our attention?
How do we stay focused
Out of that presence.
in a world full of distractions?
That's a whole other
That was
conversation.
other deep dive.
I'll have to save that for another time.
But for now, listener,
Yes.
we hope this deep dive into time management has given you some tools
And some strategies.
to start reclaiming your time
And creating a life that feels more aligned
with your goals.
and your values.
Remember, it's not about being perfect.
Nope.
It's about making progress one step at a time.
One day at a time.
And maybe, just maybe,
Yeah.
putting your phone down every once in a while.
Ah.
That's always a good idea.
So until next time,
Yes.
keep learning.
Keep exploring.
And remember, your time is your most valuable resource.
Use it wisely.